let's go live here on Instagram. Let's go live here on TikTok. That'll take probably a few seconds there. All right, then I think you have to go right here more. Yeah, perfect. All right, we are live today inside about 7 different platforms here. Now, I'm going to ask each of you this question, and when I ask you this question, type in me if the following happens to you, right? Type in me if you ever have lost a sale when the prospect says at the end of the conversation, now this could be B2C, B2B, it doesn't matter. If at the end they say, you know, this sounds really good, but I really need to pray about it. I just need some time to pray about it. Type in me if you didn't know what to do, you didn't know what to say, you didn't ask, or maybe you even grabbed their hand and you prayed to God and they didn't get the answer you were hoping. Well, I'm going to show you what to do. I'm going to show you why the prospect even said that to you, because that's not an objection. I want to pray about it. What do they actually want to pray about is the real objection. So how do you get them to open up and tell you what their real concern is? Because they're not going to do that without the right questions and the right tone. So type in me if you've ever lost a sale. Now, I know some of you are like, oh, I just have them pray with me. Well, what are you going to do if they're like, oh, that's really personal? I'd rather pray on my own. What are you going to do then? Or what if you grab their hand and you pray and they didn't get the answer you were hoping for? That puts you in a really bad situation. So I'm going to show you how to not put yourself in that situation so you just never get that. It makes selling so much easier. Now, type in me if you've ever got that objection and if you've ever lost a sale. You know, I sold in 4 completely different industries, okay, in my 17-year sales career before I retired and started 7th Level. 2 were B2C, business to consumer. 2 were B2B. And I got that objection in each one of those. Even when I was selling to enterprise level companies that had tens of thousands of employees, I would get that objection here and there, depending on what part of the country I was selling into. All right. Now, if you are brand new to the Facebook group, because we're going live here on 7 different platforms, we're going live here on the TikTok phone over here, you guys. We're also going live here on our Instagram phone. I call it the IG phone, the bat phone here. Got about 530,000 of you following us around here on IG. We're also going live in our Facebook group, our big Facebook group here, one of the many, called Sales Revolution, about 85,000 of you in that now. We're also going live in the Facebook business page. I think 156,000 of you follow me around there, YouTube and LinkedIn. Now, if you're brand new to follow me, my name's Jeremy Miner. I'm the founder of 7th Level. We're a sales training organization, in case you're wondering, that trains salespeople exactly like you watching me in this Hugo Boss shirt. So we train salespeople like you. We train sales professionals like you, sales executives like you, sales leadership, sales management, entrepreneurs, business owners, coaches and consultants, contractors, pretty much everything you can think of, 158 different industries, including yours. And we train you and your teams how to learn specific skilled questions and techniques that work with human behavior rather than work against it. What do I even mean when I say work with human behavior? Because are you 100% sure that the questions you're using, that you've been taught to use, are the right questions? Are you 100% sure? Are you 100% sure you know how to use your tone to get the prospect to want to open up and actually engage? Because there's 4 types of tone, right? And your tone is how your prospect interprets why you're asking the question in the first place. Let me repeat that. Your tonality, your tone, is how the prospect interprets the meaning of what you're asking. There's certain questions that you need to learn how to ask in more of a curious tone. Walk me through. What do you guys do now for? See, that's a curious tone. There's other questions that need to be asked in more of a confused tone. John, walk me back. I'm not understanding what you meant by. See, that's a confused tone. There's other questions that require more of a challenging, skeptical tone. What are the ramifications if this doesn't change, though? And then there's other questions that you have to learn to ask in more of a concerned tone, a tone that shows more empathy. Are you 100% sure you know how to do everything I just said? Because if you're not, that means you're losing sales that you could be making. That our clients who are in your industry, they make those sales every single day. Now, so here's what I want you to do. So type in me if you've ever lost a sale, or if you ever get the objection, I want to pray about it. And then you try to pray and they say, well, that's personal. We're not going to pray with you. We're going to pray on our own. Then you don't know what to do. Or you pray with them and some reason God told them not to buy what you're offering. So I'm going to not put you in that situation because that's not a situation you can control. What I'm going to show you on the vibe board back here is a situation you can control, because I want to pray about it is not an objection. It's just like them saying, I want to think it over. Well, what do they want to think over? That's the real objection. What do they want to pray about? That's the real objection that we have to get them to open up and trust us enough to actually tell us what their real objection is. All right. Now, if you're on the live right now, go grab your phone. And in the bottom in the comments, I want you to post #live. So if you're on the live right now, go post #live. And if you're on the replay, I'm going to have you go post #replay. So if you're on the live right now, post #live. Replay. So if you're on the live, go post #live. I better see, there's hundreds of you on here between Instagram. There's probably over 1,000 of you between Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the Facebook group, LinkedIn, the Facebook business page. There's well over 1,000 of you. So I better see hundreds of #lives, and I better see hundreds of #replays if you're on the replay. So #live if you're on the live, #replay if you're on the replay. If I'm going to show you how to do this so you never lose sales from this again. Now, I also want you to smash the heart button, and I want you to smash the like button. I better see hundreds of smashed hearts and hundreds of smashed likes, because I could go golf here. Nick, it's only like 104 degrees. We're in September now here in Scottsdale. The weather has gone down from 110 to like 102 range. So it's enough where you can still go golf and you don't sweat to death after like 15 minutes. It takes at least 45 minutes. So I still could golf if I don't get a lot of hundreds of #lives and hundreds of I want you to smash the heart button and smash the like button. Okay, now let's begin, because I know none of you care about me selfishly. You only care about who? You only care about yourself, you guys. All right, so I'm going to put the IG phone over here, and I'm going to move the vibe board over here so you guys can see this. Let's see if they can see the vibe board here. All right, can we move that around? All right, let's see here. Can they see? No, we're going to have to move it right here. And we still got it. Okay, that's a little bit better for you guys. I moved it over there. And then if I moved you guys over here on TikTok. All right. Now, let me go over a few things that you'll want to understand here so you understand why you're getting this objection. What is the biggest reason in your mind that would cause a prospect at the end of your presentation or sales process, let's say if you sold B2B, at the end of your sales process to say, this sounds really good, but I want to pray about it? Does the prospect really go home or really stay at their house after you leave, or get off Zoom if you sell virtually, get off the phone and immediately go to their bedroom and start praying over the pins that you sell, or the pools that you sell, or the cybersecurity that you are going to get in their office, or the life insurance policy, or the new car? Do they seriously go and pray about that? Just like, do they really go think it over when you get the think it over objection? More than likely not. Now, there might be a few circumstances they do, but more than likely most don't, okay? Now, I know some of you are like, let's play together. I know that sounds cool, but you have no control on the answer, do you? And I don't want you to be in that situation. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to agree with them. Now, why do I want to agree with them? I'm not going to say, oh yeah, take your time, go pray about it. But I want them to lower their guard, right? Because if I can't get them to let their guard down, then I'm in trouble, because they don't tell me what the real concern is. So I'm going to agree with them, all right? Doesn't matter if I'm on the phone, if I'm selling on Zoom, if I'm in person, B2B, B2C, it's all the same, all right? So I just really need some time to pray about it. Yeah, that's not a problem for sure. So you just agree, yeah, that's not a problem. And then you're going to say this. Now, when you say pray about it, what specific parts of what we've gone over do you feel like you really need to pray about? Now, let me show you this again. And I'm going to show you why I asked what I did and why I moved my body like I did. It's very important that you pick this up. Okay. Now, when you say pray about it, like what specific parts of what we've gone over do you feel that you really need to pray about? Now, why on earth would I emphasize do you feel that you really need to pray about? Now, did you see how I paced this out? See how I pace that out? That's called verbal pacing. If I'm saying something important, or if I'm asking a long question and I ask it too fast, the prospect has no time to what? Internalize what I'm saying or asking. So that's why you get surface level answers to your questions, because you ask them too fast and you ask them in one tone, like just one straight tone. I want you to notice how my tone shifts and how I pace this out. Now, let me show you the way most salespeople would ask this same question. This is how not to do it. Yeah, no problem. Now, when you say pray about it, what specific parts of what we've covered do you feel like you really need to pray about, George? Oh, I don't know. It's just a big decision. See? No time to internalize what you're asking or saying because you say it and ask it too fast. Now, here are my tones, see how I shift. And then I'm going to show you about 5 or 6 different industry-specific examples of this formula. I'm going to show you exactly what to do. The first thing I have to do is find out what the real concern is. What are they wanting to pray about? Okay. Now, when you say pray about it, like, I guess, what specific parts of what we've covered do you feel that you really need to pray about? Do you feel? Now, why would I say feel instead of do you think? Feel is on what side of the brain? The emotional side of the brain. Human beings make buying decisions based off what? Emotion or logic? 100% emotion. Brain studies have proven that for decades. Okay. So I don't want to say think, because that then takes them over into the logical side of their brain. I want them to stay on the emotional side of their brain. And you probably do too if you want to make a lot more sales than you do, right? Do you feel that you really need to pray about? Now, notice how I feel. I clench my fist. Do you really need to pray about? Okay. Now, if I'm talking to a religious person, they're just going to tell me. You know what they're going to say? Well, see, whatever they say here is the real concern. You know what most are going to say? Well, it's just a really big decision and we need to see if we have the budget for it. Now what do I know? That it's a money objection. And now I'm still there to do what? To help them overcome the money objection. Now, in other circumstances, it could be other things. Well, I just need some time to pray about it because, my cousin Vinny, he got this type of thing 6 years ago and it just never worked out for him. Well, now I know what? That they have some type of fear or concern that it might not work out for them depending on what you're selling. Well, it's just a really big decision and I just need some time to really pray about it and kind of discuss it with my business partner. If you sold SMB, more small, medium type of businesses. Now you know what? That he or she wants to go talk to their business partner. And now you know what you need to help overcome, probably schedule with that other business partner to go over some of those details. Okay, but now you know what's going on. Now, I'm going to show you what to do next after you resolve the real concern. Okay, you might want to stay tuned to this because I saved the best for the very last few minutes. Okay, so after I've done that, so whatever they say here is the objection. Okay, now notice I'm emphasizing the word feel and I'm using more of a concerned tone. Do you feel like you really need to pray about? Kind of a concerned, curious tone. Okay, all right, now let's say that it was a money objection and they say, oh, I need to pray about it because it's a big decision and I just don't know if I have the money. Okay. Now, you help them overcome that objection. Now, I'm not going to go into money objections right now. We have all that in our virtual training courses for our clients, more industry specific stuff. But after you've overcome that, you then simply say, how do you feel God would feel about you? And you repeat back what they said they wanted. So after you help them overcome the concern, you then loop back around. That's called NEPQ looping. You have to loop back around to close the deal or at least move it forward. Let's say if you're selling in a B2B environment and there's still another step, you got to move it to that next step. More of a micro commitment. If you're B2C sales and you're closing there, you loop back around to the close. So after I help them overcome the concern, because you don't want to just help them overcome the money concern and then try to close them again, because a lot of times they'll be like, well, yeah, but I still need to pray. So I need to help them overcome that. How do you feel God would feel about you? And I repeat back what they said they wanted. Now, I'm going to show you, I think I picked 5 completely different industries. And I'm going to show you the formula and the framework so you can plug in what you sell. Okay, you might even see your industry up here. We already train people, if not thousands of people in your industry, probably hundreds of companies that do exactly what you do. Maybe not hundreds, depends on how big your type of industry is, okay? All right. Now, let's say if I sold life insurance or final expense insurance or even health insurance, okay? We train tens of thousands in those spaces, all right? Look what I did here. I mean, how do you feel God would feel about you having the financial protection in place for Cindy and the kids so when you pass away, they're completely taken care of without any of the stress like most people go through who don't have the coverage? What do you feel God would want you to do? Now, that was a freaking long question, but did you see how I did what? Paste it out. Verbal paste it out, okay? I'm going to do it again for you, okay? See where I have verbal pauses and I pace it out. And then at the end I say, what do you feel God would want you to do? Notice how I tied this in. It's going to be hard for them to say, nope, God would not want me to financially protect my family if that's what I sold. And I'm going to show you different industries. And you're like, how would I do it for mine? I'm going to show you, okay? How do you feel God would feel about you having the financial protection in place for Dan and the kids so when you pass away, they're completely taken care of without the stress that most people go through who don't have the coverage? What do you feel God would want you to do for your family? See, I lowered my tone into a what? A concerned tone. See what I just did there? Why would I use a concerned tone there at the end? What do you feel like God would want you to do? Instead of, well, what would you feel God would want you to do? See, that's more in your face. They're going to get defensive. But if I lean in, what do you feel God would really want you to do? It's going to be hard for them to say, he would not want me to protect my family financially. Very hard if that's what I sold. All right, I'm going to show you a completely different industry now. Okay? I want you to watch the same formula. Let's say if you're a marketing agency or a lead broker, train thousands in this space as well, and you're selling better leads to companies to help them scale. Let's say you're more SMB, could be enterprise level as well. You're a marketing agency going to help their branding, their advertising, whatever. Okay, could be very large enterprise all the way down to a mom and pop shop. Okay, and let's say that in this example, the company wants to scale, let's just say to $10 million a month, $120 million a year. Let's say they're doing half of that. Smaller company right now. Okay, how do you feel God would feel about you guys getting a higher quality lead to your salespeople so you can scale your company to 10 million a month? Okay. And I could even add on something like that. I'll show you. How do you feel God would feel about getting a higher quality lead so you can actually grow and help more people in your business? It's going to be hard for him to say, nope, I don't think he'd want me to grow and scale my business. Like, they're not going to say that. Okay. Let me show you more here. All right. I'm just repeating back what they said they wanted. Now, let's just stay in that same field. Let's say if you're selling business consulting services to companies where you plug in better systems, better operations to scale their businesses. So I'm going to show you a couple B2B, and then I'm going to show you a couple more B2C as well. And then I think another B2B in there. Okay. How do you feel God would feel? Notice I'm saying feel and feel, not think. Keep them on the emotional side of their brain, not the thinking, logical based side. Human beings don't make buying decisions from logic. Okay, they don't. It's just brain studies prove that. It's not me saying it. Just go talk to any behavioral scientist in the world. How do you feel God would feel about you guys putting in the right systems and operations to be able to scale the company to 100 million so you're able to help more clients? Oh, I think well, what do you feel like he would want you to do? Okay. See, how do you feel God would feel about putting in like the right operation staff to scale your company to 100 million? Like, what do you feel God would want you to do? Well, I'm not really sure. I never thought, well, would he want you to stay at $40 million a year? Or would he rather have you scale to 100 million a year so you're able to help more people? See what I just did there? See how I'm comparing what would he want you to do if they like, well, I'm not sure what he'd want me to do. Well, I mean, in your mind, what do you feel like he would want you to do? Would he want you to just stay at $40 million a year and you're not really helping a lot of people? Or would he want you to have better operations so you can scale and take on more clients and really help them more? I mean, what would he really want you to do? It's going to be hard for him to say, nope, he wouldn't want me to scale. See what we're doing there? All right. Let me give you another example. Let's say if you sold solar, we train thousands in this space as well. And let's say in this space, you find out you're going to save, Betty $80 a month, and you're going to protect her against the rate hikes. Okay, so if you're selling solar, what are you doing? Lowering the bill, locking in their rates to protect them from the rate hikes, and depending on what they buy, eventually not having a bill. All right, see what I'm doing here? How do you feel God would feel about you saving the $80 a month and protecting yourself from being forced to pay the rate hikes? I mean, what do you feel God would want you to do? How do you feel God would feel about you keeping that $80 a month and protecting yourself from being forced to keep paying the rate hikes? I mean, what do you feel God would want you to do? Nope, he'd want me to keep paying the rate hikes. See, they wouldn't. If they say, well, I'm not really sure. Well, would he want you to keep paying the rate hikes every month, or would he rather have you keep that money and be able to give back and help more people in your church? I mean, what do you feel like he would want you to do? See what I just did? Look, if you're getting, I want to pray about it objections, that's usually from more of a religious person that more than likely goes to church, or maybe they have charities they like to donate to help other people. If you're going to get, I want to pray objection, you're probably dealing with somebody that goes to church or donates to charities. So if they say, well, I'm not sure what he'd want me to do. Well, would he want you to keep paying the rate hikes every month, or would he rather have you keep that money and then give back to XYZ charity to help more people? I mean, what would he really want you to do? See, hard for them to come back and say, nope, he would not want me to keep the money. He would want me to keep paying rate hikes. See what we're doing there? I could keep going. I could do this for every single industry on planet Earth, yours included. We already do it for your industry, all right? Let's say if you sold fitness, completely different industry, okay? And let's say in this example, the prospect says they want to lose 85 pounds. I just made that up, okay? And you find out they want to lose 85 pounds because they're afraid they're going to have a heart attack in their 50s or maybe late 40s, and they're not going to be able to see their daughters. They're not going to be able to walk them down the aisle. Could that be a concern for, say, a middle-aged man that has kids, who wants to see kids grow up? They want to see grandkids. They want to be able to walk daughters down the aisle. If they don't lose the weight, what are the consequences? They could have a stroke. They could have a heart attack. They might not be here, right? So whatever they say, I'm going to pump this in. Does that make sense? How do you feel God would feel about you losing the 85 pounds so you don't have a heart attack and you're able to walk your daughter down the aisle? I mean, what do you feel God would want you to do? Nope, he would not want me to prevent against a heart attack and walk my daughter. And see, you're not going to say that. See what we're doing here. We're helping you take control. So once they tell you what the real concern is, what they want to pray about, and then you help them overcome that concern, you then loop back around and ask them how they feel God would feel about, and you repeat back what they said they wanted. It's hard for them to say, nope, he would not want me to have what I said I wanted. Very hard. Okay. I mean, how do you feel God would feel about you losing the 85 pounds to prevent a heart attack? And like you had mentioned, be able to walk Cindy down the aisle. And what do you feel he would want you to do? Concern tone. See, I shift my tone into that concern tone. Do you see how I paste that question out? Remember, that's verbal pacing, all right? When you have a long question or a statement that's longer, you want to pace it out and have verbal pausing in between. Because if I said it like this, how do you feel God would feel about you losing 85 pounds so you prevent the heart attack? And like you mentioned, be able to walk your daughter down the aisle. Oh, I think he'd probably like that. See, there's no emotion involved. But if I do it this way, I mean, how do you feel God would feel about you losing the 85 pounds to prevent the heart attack? And like you had mentioned, you're able to walk Nancy down the aisle. I mean, what do you feel like God would really want you to do? See what I just did there? Okay? That's verbal pacing and lowering my tone into that concern tone, right? A tone that shows empathy. Now, how does Bob or whoever I'm talking interpret what I just said? That you're concerned for him not getting what he or she said they wanted. That's how they interpret the meaning behind every single thing you're saying. You think that we should use an enthusiastic tone on an initial presentation? No. I mean, what happens here on TikTok? What happens when somebody uses a really enthusiastic, high-pitched voice for you when they go into their pitch? What do? You immediately put up your wall because you feel like you're being pitched at or sold to. You don't like that. So if you don't like being pitched at, do you think your prospects do? No. So you keep more assertiveness, you keep more collectiveness, you keep calm when you go through your presentation, okay? You could have a concern tone at certain parts of that presentation. You're going to have probably more of a curious tone. Sometimes you might have a confused tone if you're not understanding something they said. John, I'm not understanding. A minute ago, you said X, Y, Z. How did you mean by that? See, that's a confused tone. Now, notice how my facial expression changed, and that affected my what? My tonality. Your face is the remote control to your tone and how your voice comes across. Your facial expressions dictate if it comes across more concerned, more confused, I'm not understanding, more curious. Walk me through. What did you mean by? Or more challenging if you don't do it that way. See, that's a challenging tone, but it's also affected by my facial expression. See what I'm doing there? All right, there you go. All right, now we're going to go live tomorrow. That's all I've got for you today. Now, here's what I'm going to, actually, I do have one more thing for you if you want to make more money. So I'm going to ask you this one last question, and then I'm going to give you a special announcement about a training we're going to do tomorrow here in the Facebook group. We're not going to do it on Instagram or on IG, so you need to make sure that you join the Facebook group because I'll be interviewing a client. We interview new clients every single Wednesday, week after week after week, and we break out their sales process, and you can ask them any questions. Now, for them to even be interviewed in my Facebook group, because I typically only interview individual salespeople. I don't even interview business owners. Okay, just individual salespeople. The salesperson has to be a client, have to be making on average at least $35,000 a month in commissions after we train them in any industry. So every industry, we pick a different industry every week. All right. Now, go ahead. Now, here's what I want to ask each of you. Well, I'm going to ask you right here watching me. Type in me if you want to start making, I don't know, let's keep it small, $10,000 a month in your industry. And I'm talking, when I say 10,000 a month, I mean every month. Like you want to consistently make 10,000 every single month with what you sell now. If that's you, I want you to type in me in the comment section. You might be on Instagram, TikTok, IG, or you might be here on YouTube or Facebook group, LinkedIn, all these platforms are going to type in me if you want to make at least 10,000 every single month. I know for some of you, you're like, I don't want to make 10,000 a month. I want to acquire the skills to make 15 or 20,000 every single month. So if you're the thinker, it's like, I want to acquire the skills it takes to make 15 to 20,000 a month. Type in me if that's you. So if that's you, type in me right now. Now, I see a lot here, especially on YouTube, type it in me. Now, if you're a bigger thinker, and you're like, screw 20,000 a month. I want to acquire the sales ability to make 25 or 30,000 every month in your industry. Type in me, because I can assure you, we already trained tons of salespeople in your industry that are making well more than that now after we've trained them. Every industry on here watching me. Okay. Now type in me if you're the thinker that's want to make 40 or 50,000 every month in your industry. So if you're the thinker that's like, I want to make 40 or 50,000 a month as a salesperson selling exactly what I am right now, because I can assure you, we are training people in your industry that make more than that now, that were making what you are even 6 months to a year ago. Okay. Or longer or shorter. Now type in me if you want to make more than 50,000 a month. If you're like, I want to make 60 grand a month. I even want to learn the sales ability it takes to make close to $1 million a year. Now, if you're selling door-to-door magazine subscriptions for $5, I can't help you get to that much money, but I can give you the skill level where you can transfer that into an industry where you can. Okay. So type in me if that's you. Now, for each of you that typed in me, what's your plan? What's your plan? How are you going to do that? You're going to get better leads? Is it the lead's fault? You're going to take more cold showers? Is that going to get you to 25,000 a month in commissions? Are you going to journal more? Are you listening to more self-development? Is that going to get you the sales ability to make 25 or 30,000 every month? What are you going to do? What's your plan? Because without a real plan, guess what's going to happen? Nothing. So if you want to actually make that money rather than just dream about it or talk about it, because is that going to get you there? Then message me directly right now. So if you're on TikTok or Instagram, message me directly right now. If you're on LinkedIn, or if you're in the Facebook group Sales Revolution here on my desktop, or my Facebook, or the Facebook business page, or YouTube, message me directly right now. If you want to acquire the sales ability it takes to make that type of income. Because are you going to, if you want to double your income, you're going to double your working hours? You already work 8 to 10 hours a day. Are you going to work 16 to 20 hours a day? Is that realistic? Probably not. So if you want to make a much higher level income, what do you have to do? You first have to do what? You have to acquire a much higher advanced sales ability than what you currently have now. Right? Were you born with advanced questioning skills? Probably not. Were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced tonality and verbal pacing skills? Probably not. Were you born out of your mother's womb with advanced objection prevention and objection handling skills? Probably not. So if you're not born with any of those skills, you have to do what? You have to acquire those skills from someone who's actually done it. If you want to make 400,000 or 500,000 a year in commissions, how are you going to acquire the sales ability to do that from a sales trainer who never even did that themselves when they were selling like you? Going to be pretty hard, right? If you want to get to $1 million a year in commissions in your industry, how are you going to do that? By learning from someone who never could do that when they were selling. Probably going to be hard to do that. So message me directly right now. Now, here's what I'll do, because after I do one of these, there'll be hundreds of you that message me. I bet 500 to 600 of you message me between these 7 different platforms. I personally will not be able to message all 500 of you back. But me and a few of my stunt doubles will jump into the DMs here in just a little bit, and we'll message you back some options that we have for you. We don't just have one sales training program with one price. We're a fairly large organization by this point. We have almost 150 employees. Okay, we're a fairly large company. It's not just me and a office back here. It was 4 years ago, for sure. Okay, we have tens of thousands of clients, trained almost a little bit over 500,000 people. Selling Power I'm going to gloat now. Selling Power Magazine ranked us as one of the top 20 sales training companies in the world. You can't pay to get on that list. It's not like a mention in Forbes or something stupid. You have to submit your financials, signed off by your CPA legally, and it's based on client results. There's a reason why we're in that ranking after 3.5 years. Okay? Every sales training company on that ranking, besides us, has been around for at least 25 years. A few of them have been around more than 50 years. Might be a reason why we're getting tens of thousands of clients' results, clients in your industry. So when we message you back, can you do yourself a favor? Can you let your ego down? Can you just drop the ego? That there might be more for you to learn about selling than what you thought? Are you okay with that? Because we can't help you if you think you know everything there is to know about selling. Everything you've ever known about selling has gotten you where? To the income you're at now. But how's it going to double or triple that? Can't, right? So when we message you, we'll want to find out more about what you're selling, because we train every industry at this point except underwater basket weaving. We haven't gotten that industry yet. We'll find out more about what you feel like you're saying or not asking that's triggering your prospects to not buy from you, even though they have problems and your solution solves those. So what do you feel like you're saying, or what you're not asking, or how you don't understand how to use your tone that's causing so many of your prospects to not buy, even though they have problems that your solution solves? Okay. And once we find that out, you'll have an opportunity to book with one of our account managers that's either here at our Scottsdale, Arizona offices, our Sydney, Australia offices, or virtually all over the world, all the way from Europe to Asia to everywhere. Probably Iowa, we have account managers now. Okay. They'll find out more about what you're making now compared to what you want to make, what your sales ability is right now. Depending on your sales ability that you have, will be dependent on what training program we would say would be the best for you to make the most money the soonest. If you're making $2 or $3 grand a month in commissions now, we are not going to put you in our advanced inner circle training. It'd be too advanced for you. Be over your head in the beginning. We'd put you more in NEPQ 2.0 versions or 3.0 or other versions. If you're making 5 or 10 grand a month, we would put you in a different training program than someone that makes 2 or 3. If you're making 8, 12, 20, 30 grand a month, we're going to put you in something different than the person that makes 7 or 8. Okay. And it depends on your industry and which training program we put you in. Okay. All right. So message me directly right now. We'll message you back. And then tomorrow we will be going live inside the Facebook group Sales Revolution. If you're on Instagram or TikTok, and if you want to be on that live, because on Wednesdays we only go live in our Facebook group, or if you're on YouTube or the Facebook business page and you want to ask questions to our clients that I interview, I pick a new one from a different industry every single week. We have waiting list of people that want me to interview them, but they have to pass the financial qualifications. Okay. But if you want to be on there where I interview the individual and break down their sales process that we've trained them to help you sell more, and you can ask them questions, you want to be in our Facebook group, make sure you join salesrevolution.pro. It's right here. If you're on YouTube or the Facebook business page or my Facebook, it's right there in that banner on my underneath me. It says salesrevolution.pro. If you're on IG or TikTok, I'll have somebody on my team drop the link. Just go to salesrevolution.pro. Salesrevolution.pro. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow inside the Facebook group. And you're welcome to message me directly if you want to acquire a much higher sales ability than you currently have now. Okay? All right. Love, peace. We will see you guys tomorrow. Well done.